Welcome back to the Academy of the Magical Art. I am Frauder Ophiel, and this is part 2 of our conversation on polarization and depolarization. If you have not listened to the first part, which discusses what polarization is, please discontinue listening to this video and go and listen to part 1 before listening to the practical application process. So let us first take a look at the High Priestess Tarot card. This is a woman who is holding the Torah, or the Jewish or Hebrew book of wisdom and sacred knowledge, in her hand, sitting between two pillars, one black and one white. These pillars are Yakin, Boaz. Yakin and Boaz are the two pillars of King Solomon's temple, which is a physical representation or symbol of the temple of our mind. Yakin and Boaz represent the polarity between this. So here, in these two poles, we see the balance of all things. Good, evil, masculine, feminine, conscious, subconscious, projective, receptive, so on and so forth. The list could go on. The High Priestess, rather than standing on one side of the pole or the other, seats herself in the middle, and in doing so, gains the sacred knowledge and wisdom. She has the perspective where she can see both sides clearly and understands that in reality they are two sides of the same coin, two parts of the same whole. So in order to depolarize ourselves, we must look at this and say, how do we accomplish this task? Well, first we must understand ourselves. We are comprised of three different bodies, being our physical body, our mental and emotional body, and our energetic body, all of which we should try to keep and maintain a good balance within. So first we will take a look at our physical body. Our physical bodies, made primarily of water and electricity, are basically bioelectrical computers that basically project and receive electrical pulses on a constant basis, day after day, for our entire lives. Our mental body is what processes all of these electrical pulses, processes our thoughts and emotions, the thoughts and emotions of other things. Every pulse or signal from every one of our senses on a constant basis, being sight, smell, hearing, taste, and touch, all of these things firing in our brain all the time. And our energetic body is comprised of our meridians and our chakras and so on and so forth, all need to be brought into proper alignment. So we do this. Well, one of the first tools that a ceremonial magician will learn to accomplish this process is called the middle pillar exercise. You can find a video on the middle pillar exercise located within the rituals folder, along with a link that will take you to a page to read the middle pillar exercise. I strongly encourage that this practice be done at least 1 to 2 times a day for 6 to 9 months, every day. The use of the middle pillar exercise allows us to not only depolarize our energetic bodies rather quickly, it takes 5 to 10 minutes, but it also allows us an opportunity to mentally decompress. In my opinion, I look at the physical body to be a reflection or an emanation of our energetic bodies and our mental bodies. Energy placed to will. Energy merging with thought or will creates physical manifestation. So to have two bodies in proper balance, the third will align as well, a natural order. Another thing that begins to take place as we depolarize ourselves is we begin to perceive things differently. We begin to react to situations differently. I would like to issue a bit of a warning when it comes to depolarizing yourself, because when you stand on one side of the pole or stand on the other side of the pole, it is very, very easy to relate to others that share that same standpoint with you. However, when you stand in the middle of two poles, neither side relates with you. You oftentimes will be able to look and understand both sides, but as far as a relation to them, as far as an understanding of, yes, I feel you, or yes, I'm standing with you, that does not take place. So the more depolarized you become, the less you vibrate with energies around you, because you are operating on a different level. I'll use an example of politics, for instance. You have your classic right wing and you have your classic left wing. And people have a natural tendency to feel very strongly about these things. In some cases, so strongly that they want to debate them and fight about them and so on and so forth. You see this in gun control, LGBT rights, religion, Almost anything you can think of, there will always be a debate, and there will always be another side, and somebody wants to take that stance. Through depolarization, you begin to look at both sides being, again, varying degrees of the same thing, and just step out of the cycle and stand in the middle, and doing so neutralizing yourself. Rather than being the proton or electron, you are being the neutron. With depolarization, although it is very, very important, especially if you want to begin to change perspectives and change outlooks and break away from control of those who would wish to assert it over you, takes on a form of causes us to take on the form of the hermit. Although we become very wise, we become very alone. We bear the lamp of wisdom, the torch of wisdom, but there are few who stand around to stand within it with us, to stand within its glow with us. Depolarization is a process that has numerous advantages, but also comes with sacrifices, and oftentimes the sacrifices are having people that can empathize with you, although you can empathize with them because you, like as I said, can see both sides of the issue, necessarily empathize with you because they're stuck in their polarity. Those who are in the know love people who are polarized because people who are polarized are extremely easy to control. They're extremely easy to push and generate reaction from. One of the most recent fiascos that I noticed in the news was with a red Christmas Starbucks cup. Millions and millions and millions of people were up in arms, posting things on Facebook or taking 3, 5, 10 minutes out of their day to read articles about this or read articles about that in relation to a Starbucks cup. Now, what happened with the Starbucks? Many people protested and had a big fit because there wasn't a Christmas tree or some nonsense on the cup, and a lot more people thought that it was an absolute asinine reaction and supported Starbucks. One side boycotts, the other side supports. So where you see a percentage of people boycotting, those who are supporting are buying a surplus more than what they normally would, causing the company to generate more income. You can see patterns of behavior like this rippling through our economy time and time again, where somebody will say something about gay marriage, or somebody will say something about the church, or somebody will say something about a political topic or whatever, and all of a sudden everybody's all up in arms and not really paying a whole lot of attention to what's really going on around them because they're so busy being concerned about this petty bullshit. Another example of this would be a friend of mine. She has in-laws that don't necessarily like her relationship with her husband and therefore try to cause trouble. So what her in-laws would do is they would say something, say mean words. Okay, doesn't matter what they're saying. Insert mean and untrue words. Now, this friend of mine would become very upset because oftentimes these words were hurtful, and her natural inkling would be to go to the defense of either herself, the friends that she was speaking about, or whatever she was rambling about. The thing that I had to try to tell my friend that was being affected like this was something only holds power if it holds truth. Why are you letting these mean, empty words affect you and hurt you like this if they hold no truth? The only power that they're being given is that you wish to give it. And in doing so, becoming very, very polarized in the situation, that if you decided to depolarize yourself too, you would completely regain all of your power and take away all of hers, in this case, a mother-in-law. Now, I know a lot of people that can relate to situations like that in regards to coworkers or spouses, best friends, or whatever, people that like to meddle in business where they shouldn't, and oftentimes it's with untruth. Even if a situation is true, oftentimes if we step back and rather than giving reaction, becoming angered or upset, if we are to depolarize ourselves, we can completely influence the way that situation goes and oftentimes come on top. Depolarizing yourself mentally is very, very hard to do when you are polarized energetically. That is why doing rituals such as the middle pillar exercise will allow you to depolarize yourself. Anytime I encounter an individual with whom I try to share information or knowledge about depolarization with, or anytime I encounter an aspiring magician, I always recommend not only doing the middle pillar twice a day, but the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. My personal regimen when I was young in my craft was every morning when I got up and every evening before I went to bed, I would take a minimum of a half an hour of my day, and I would do yoga and stretching to prepare my physical body. This was then followed by meditation and followed by the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram to banish any unwanted energies away from me, and then following with the middle pillar. And then on occasion, I would do invocations when I became a little bit more experienced. However, for now, we only need to be focusing on the banishing of the negative energies and the depolarizing of our personal energies until we can regain a balanced state. I know that many people have a hard time finding 5 or 10 minutes in their day to dedicate to something like that. However, true refinement of this craft is something that takes time and dedication. And if you are not willing to dedicate 10 minutes of your time every day, you're not going to go very far. You are going to receive what you are willing to invest. So at a bare minimum, if nothing else, at least do the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram and the middle pillar twice a day for 6 months. After 6 months, if you feel comfortable, cut down to once a day, but until you truly feel yourself being depolarized and centered and able to look at situations with a non-biased, balanced perspective, this is something that should be done twice a day. Depolarization is a lengthy process that can have a tendency to pull some things up that need to be dealt with, but once they are, it is a very freeing process and a very empowering process that I encourage in any aspiring magician. You can be a very talented and very gifted magician or witch without going through the process of depolarization. However, this extra process in your practice will bring forth results that will be well worth every minute spent. I want to thank you for joining with me today at the Academy of the Magical Art. And until next time, blessed be.